All right, guys, I'm going to get this kicked off. I want to leave a lot of time to hack, so I'm going to try to get this done in less than 20 minutes. We'll try to get it done in 12 minutes. So I'm here on behalf of Zaprite. I'm an integration engineer. I heard Will Cole call me that one day, and I thought it was a great name. But today I'm going to show you guys our Zaprite API, and really what you can use AI to whip up a quick checkout really quick. There is a hackathon going on. If you guys didn't hear, we're giving out 200,000 sats, which we're almost on parity with 100,000 right now. So that's about $200. So that's a pretty decent bounty for, 2 hours of hacking. So if you don't know what Zaprite is, the TLDR is we make Bitcoin payments easy. So if you have ever used Square or Stripe, they make it really easy in fiat land to check out. So we're trying to do the same in Bitcoin land. We give you these hosted checkouts. And we realize that not everyone uses Bitcoin or Lightning. So we allow you to do side-by-side credit card payments, ACH, and Bitcoin and Lightning. So before I get into our API, we've got some breaking news that happened yesterday. If you haven't heard, we can now do in-app payments in iOS apps. So for all you Nostr devs, you can zap on the iOS apps now. And Stripe actually came out with a little demo yesterday of in-app payment with Stripe, and they were trading little cherry tokens or something. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense with credit cards if there's like a 30-cent fee to do that. But Zaprite makes it really easy to do with Lightning, which makes a ton of sense. So if you guys are building games or any little zapping app, Zaprite could be a great tool to help you guys, organize all of that. We have great dashboards for organizing your income and all that good stuff. So to show the API a little bit more, if you guys are during the hackathon going to hack with Zaprite, if you go to app.zaprite.com, you can sign up for a free trial. And in there, you can get an API key. And we also offer webhooks, so you can paste in a URL for callbacks to go to. Like when an order goes through, we'll send you a order updated webhook, and you can do actions on that. So a big theme of today was vibe coding. Tony gave us a great session of vibe coding live. So I'm going to give you guys 2 resources. I'm not going to go deep into vibe coding, just because Tony did a great job doing that. But when you are building with the Zaprite API, there's 2 great resources you can plug into your favorite AI. And that's our API docs at api.zaprite.com. Write that down, or just remember, it's pretty easy to remember. I've got the hat on, so Zaprite, just remember that. And then the second resource, which is great for your LLM, is our Open API document. So if you're not familiar with the Open API spec, it really describes your entire API and gives you all the objects typed. So you can basically feed that into AI and hit a button and pretty much build a checkout for you. And I'll show you that here in a second. So for instance, if I were to do a hackathon project on top of Zaprite, I'm actually going to do one here. So let's assume I want to sell this t-shirt here. I know nothing about Bitcoin payments. I know nothing about coding. And within 20 minutes, you can actually vibe code an app and have a checkout accepting Bitcoin or credit cards. And right now, our record holder for integrating the Zaprite API the quickest is actually Tony right there. He implemented it in, I think, under 3 hours. And I think most of the time he was waiting on me to answer one of the questions. He thought we had a bug or something. A typical Tony. And I'm like, no, we don't, Tony. But yeah, so I actually integrated it using, I'm probably the only guy in the world that does light mode and Copilot. I'm pretty sure everyone here are cursor or dark mode guys. I'm like the anti, I'm a boomer. Yeah, I'm old. Look at this gray beard. But anyways, so what I did to prove that the Zaprite API can be vibe coded, last night I actually prompted this. Like I said, my demo was a t-shirt shop. I want to sell this t-shirt for whatever, 100 sats. So this is the prompt I used here. Create a simple Next.js app. I know part of it's Rust. Part of today is supposed to be Rust. So swap out Next.js for Rust if you guys are gonna hack against this. And then create a checkout using Zaprite. So we have a couple resources on the internet. There's a blog post here that our founder, John McGill, did basically a demo on how to do this. And we have those resources, like I said earlier, for our API docs. So now let me transition a bit into our API. So during the hackathon, if you are going to use our API, if you wanted to be a boomer in RTFM, if you guys remember what that meant, I don't think we do much of that anymore. We just let the AI, what would the acronym be? Like AI RTFM? Like, I don't know. But anyways, if you actually want to do what old people do and read documentation, you can come here. The first thing you would want to read about is our order API. And this is really the starting point for everything. If you want to create a hosted checkout, the first object in Zaprite you have to do is create an order. So this is where you put the amount. You can price it in Satoshis or Bitcoin. We do smallest units, so it'd be Satoshis. Or you can price it in your native currency in fiat. So if you were to do USD, it's in cents. So yes, one level of zoom. And at that point, you can choose the currency. So obviously, if you're using Bitcoin, use BTC. If you're using dollars, use USD. We support a million different other currencies. The other important piece of this API call is the redirect URL. So essentially, in a standard Zaprite checkout, you have a button on your website. You say checkout with Zaprite or checkout. You redirect to Zaprite, kind of like a PayPal flow. You pay, and then we redirect you back to your site. And we spit off a webhook for you to handle on your back end to do whatever accounting you need to do. So that's the TLDR on how the Zaprite API works. Let me show you quickly the dashboard. So if you are going to use our API, again, there's a free trial. Just go to zaprite.com. First place you want to click is settings, and then API. And this is where you get your API key here. And you can set up a webhook if you need to do server-side stuff when a order is completed. I just set this up. Webhook.site is a nice spot to allow you to look at that. So lastly, I'm going to get this done in 12 minutes. What am I at now? 10 minutes? Yeah. Okay. So lastly, I want to show you what I vibe coded last night to prove that you can create an app using the Zaprite API in under 20 minutes. So I created this Next.js app. Let me show you the prompt and the conversation I have with my AI. Like I said, I'm a boomer. I'm light mode VS Code. I use Copilot, Microsoft Ride or Die. You know, just joking, but I'm lazy. I use the free stuff. But anyways, I pasted that prompt in. One cool thing about Copilot, which I'm not sure if Cursor or the other AIs do, you know, Tony, you started to talk about model context protocol. And that's really how you make your AI know what's going on. So within Copilot, they actually have this hashtag, and you can fetch out to external documentation. So I fetched out to Zaprite's API docs, you know, with that command. If you had a database behind this, there's an MCP server for Postgres. So I have all of that. It can read a SQL database and understand your database schema. And Nate back there, he's you know, at Zaprite too. He did a lot of really cool diagramming. So you can actually, once you write your code base, you can have it spit out a mermaid diagram, pretty much anything like component diagrams, sequence diagrams, probably my favorite type of diagram. But yeah, just cool tips, which I'm sure everyone's used. You know, so Copilot, I know a lot of people use it, but they do have basically cursor mode. You know, I ran this in agent mode, and it actually spit out that Next.js app. If you do want to do ask mode, that's more like just using ChatGPT. Copilot is cool because they have all these different models. I think my favorite one right now is Claude 3.7 Sonnet Thinking. This is really good for if you're bringing a large code base. Let's say, for example, there's a lot of fun code out there for Bitcoin, right? So the Bitcoin code base, this is kind of a joke if people are in the know of what's going on in Bitcoin disputes today. But so if you're interested in learning about like the Bitcoin core policy code, you can actually just go to this GitHub repo, grab the link to that policy. I'm going to bring it back over to Copilot. And like I said, I'm in ask mode here using Claude 3.7 Sonnet Thinking. So this is going to actually do deep thinking and, wire stuff together. And it's going to be like, Charlie Day on Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's got the board and all the tacks and everything. How does everything connect? So you essentially could fetch this code base and say, what is this code doing? I'm sure everyone's done this before, but it's cool to compare the different models and how they reason and think differently. So Claude 3.7 Sonnet thinking mode is kind of my favorite right now, I think, for deeper thinking. But yeah, based on the path source policy and the Bitcoin repo, this directly contains code that implements Bitcoin's transaction and block policy rules. So TLDR, if you're interested in what's going on in Bitcoin politics right now, talk to your AI, see what it has to suggest. So lastly, demo time. So this is what, at the end of that prompt session I had yesterday, this is what it built for me. It took 2 attempts. It screwed it up the first time, but the second time it actually built me a cart. So I'm going to sell this teacher to anyone in the crowd. Get your Lightning wallets out, guys. Get your Lightning wallets out. We'll see if the vibe code worked. So let's check out. It's not actually $20. It's like 20 cents. So it's going to redirect to the Zaprite checkout. I'm going to choose Lightning. Get your Lightning wallets out, guys. Whoever scans this, it's 20 cents. Whoever scans this gets this t-shirt. First guy to scan it. Any second now? Got it. Prove it.
The preimage is CC.
Oh, yeah, never mind. I trust you. All right, here you go. So you see that after that payment went through, Zaprite redirected me back to my website. It vibe coded me a success page, which I was pretty impressed that it did that. And you also see on my webhook over here, we actually were prompted for a webhook. You can see that order went through right here. And our webhook API is a little bit different. We don't give you any context. We just say, hey, an order changed. So you actually have to go use your API key to look up what changed. At that point, I can actually verify that Austin was the guy who paid me. And, you can verify the preimage and all that good stuff if you want to. But yeah, that's how our webhook API works. So yeah, that's pretty much the Zaprite API in a nutshell. One other cool thing I did while vibe coding is after I heard about Stripe and iOS, and they did a cool little demo, I did another vibe coding demo where I actually created a native app in React Native using a Zaprite checkout. I wanted to have a more in-app native experience. So let me just show you the demo. So here's pretty similar. Check out what Zaprite. It opens a native in-app web browser. And at that point, you can pay the Lightning invoice. And once it gets paid, instead of doing a URL redirect, it just goes back to my main page. So that's just some more ideas. You can use the Zaprite checkout to do in-app payments, and now it's technically legal on iOS apps. So that opens up a whole amount of stuff you guys can hack at this hackathon. Yeah, that's it. Zaprite API, use it. Come talk to me or Nate if you guys need any help with our API. And yeah, $200 or 200,000 sats up for grabs. So yeah, use the Zaprite API if you want that category. Thank you.